So let's say you have a Notion page and a Notion database where you're tracking client projects and you'd like to share some of the information with clients or maybe with partners or team members, but you don't want to give them complete access to the full database because maybe you have budget information in here or private notes or something else. Now, in Notion currently, there's not a way to do this across workspaces or across accounts, but with a tool that we've built called Whalesync, this is actually really simple to do. And starting at just $5 a month for Notion connections, this is actually a really affordable way to get going with this. I want to just show you how to set this up quick. And I've logged into my account here. If you don't have an account, you can create one, get a free trial for 14 days. Once you're in here, click on New Sync, and we're doing Notion to Notion. So we'll just select Notion on the left side. When it comes up, we want to make sure to pick the workspace that we're trying here. In this case, I've just named it Workspace. And then it's going to ask us which pages we want it to be able to have access to. And in this case, everything that's under the page will be here. And so this one, like I showed you, this database is on this page. So as long as I select that parent page right here, then everything under that will be available to me. So we allow access there. That one we can save. And then for this one, we're also going to connect Notion. We're going to authorize, but we're going to switch to our client workspace. And when we go to select pages here, you can see we don't really have anything on either of these. And I'm going to allow access just so you can see what happens when we try to do this. So we get here and now it says you've not authorized a page that can be used for a sync. So it wants us to reauthorize. We can just click that right here. But before we do it, let's go into that other workspace and let's just create a new page. So we'll come up here, new page, and we can say client view demo. So now we have a page that we can link to. So let's just click reauthorize. This pops up again. We want to make sure we're choosing the workspace that we're going to. And now we have client view demo, so we can allow access. That should make the error go away. Everything's good. We can save that. And as soon as that's good, we can move on to table mappings. Now, table mappings in Whalesync terminology are saying, this is the data that I have over here, and this is where I want it to go. So in this case, the data is in Project Tracker Private, and Notion calls that a database. But Whalesync works with a lot of different apps and they all call it different things. Webflow calls these collections, Airtable calls them bases, etc. So in Whalesync terminology, those are all considered tables because that is what is underlying whatever that abstraction is. So in the case of Notion, you're going to want to pick your database. And we actually make it really easy. You can just select new table and it'll create the new tables for you. So we actually don't have to create the table in the client view because that'll be done for us. And if we look over here, there we go, we can see that the database has been created. Now, once that is all verified and Whalesync checks to make sure that Notion has set everything up and made it available via the API, then we will finish this and we'll be able to move on to mapping fields. There it is. So now we're mapping fields. Now, Whalesync created one field for us just to get us started because Notion wants something to be in there. But if you want to create a bunch more fields from the original one, you can just click this copy fields button. And here you can see all of the fields that were available in that original database are available to us here. So we can just select all and then remove whichever ones we don't want the client to have access to. So maybe we don't want budget. We do want them to be able to update their email and phone number. Maybe we don't want internal notes and we don't need record ID. We're going to keep page content out of this because that's also going to be private. And then priority level project files we can leave in there. Let's take out the markdown one here. And then let's see, project title. I think that we don't need, yeah, we can keep that one. Start date and status. Okay. So we click copy fields and now Whalesync is going to create all of these fields for us. So we also don't have to do that. So here we can see client email came through, client phone number, end date, et cetera, et cetera. So it's going to go down through this list and it's going to create each of those. So we can see a 5 out of 7, 6 out of 7. All right, it's done with that. Here we can see if we refresh Notion here, continue in the browser. Okay, there we go. So we can see we've got all of those fields. Now, you also notice that Whalesync automatically mapped all of these, and that's because it was creating the fields for us, so it knew which fields it wanted to map those to. If you're starting with a different project and you already have columns in both of your databases, you can just come in here and select on the left side whatever column it is that you want, and then where you want that to go on the right side. And then something important to note is that in the middle, we have this sync direction. All of these are right now set to two-way. You could set it to one-way, so from project tracker private to project tracker private. Actually, hang on, that's set to project tracker private as well because Whalesync auto created that for us. Let's change that to client to make it a little bit more clear what we're doing here. And then when we come back over here and refresh fields, Whalesync should pick up that the name has changed. There it is. And we still have all of our field mappings here and ready to go. Now, if we wanted everything to be moving across from this database, the private one to the client one, we could just save and continue at this point, but we're actually going to add a filter here. So if we go to filters, we can click on add condition, and it's going to ask us what field we want to map on. And I think for this example, we're going to do status. And so we do not want status of done, because if it's done, we'd like to close it out, right? That's just going to say we only want to sync over the projects where the status is not done, just like it says there. Okay, so here we are. We have our tables mapped. So table 1 is the project tracker private, and then table 2, which is in a different workspace, is project tracker client. If we wanted to have more table mappings here, we could add a lot of those in here. If this was a multi-table or databases that have linked relations, we could do any of that. And then once we've done this and we've mapped the fields in here that we want to sync across, and we've set up our filters, now we're ready to save and continue, which is going to take us to the sync activation. There was no data on the client side, and so we don't have to match anything or merge anything. So we can just click activate sync and confirm. Now this should take us to our sync overview page, and everything's going to get set up and start moving data over. This might take anywhere from a few seconds to a minute, depending on the service. You can see in this case, we've already got records moving. So these 4 have been created. Looks like we've got 2 more created. There we go. So if we come in here, we can see here's our client name, client email, client phone. All of this has moved over. And if we switch back over to our private workspace, we can see in here, here's the same information, right? But on this side, you can look, we've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 different records. Whereas in the client one, we filter that down. If you remember, so we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, and none of these are marked as done. Now, if a client comes in here and is like, oh, my name is wrong, or my phone number is wrong, we could do this to 0125. And what's going to happen is we've made this edit on the client side, or maybe the client has made the edit in their own dashboard. And Whalesync is then going to pick up that there was a change there, and it's going to make an update. And so we can look over on the other side here in the private workspace, and we can see that for that user, it was 0123, and now it's 0125. And this works in both directions. So if you come in here and you realize that the end date is moving up, you can, change this to, let's say, December 1st. And when your client logs into their workspace, and again, this can be across workspaces or across accounts, Whalesync works both ways. But if we come in here to their account, we're going to see that this will update from December 31st. And let's see how that's looking in here, waiting for changes. Sometimes when you're setting this up, it takes a little bit longer for Notion to actually send the update. Okay, there it is. It's coming across. And now we come over here, and there it says December 1st, 2025. So just as a recap, again, this is a filtered view of the other database, and it's in a completely isolated workspace. So you could create many of these for different clients, and obviously you could structure your data in any way that you wanted. But you can be in your private version of this, you can be adding columns, you can be doing anything that you want with the private data here and not worry about that ever being exposed to clients. And all of this is made possible with Whalesync, like I said, and again, a great personal plan starting at $5 a month if you just want to set this up and try it out with a 250 record sync, anywhere up to thousands of records with tools like Affinity and Salesforce. So I hope that you enjoyed that quick demo, and happy syncing.